Okay, this is from at ORY 2020 asks, when putting, do you think of hitting the top half of the ball to get it to roll quicker?
No, ideally I'd like to hit the middle of the ball in the middle of the putter face. I don't think I know many great putters, Scotty, that hit the ball with the bottom of the putter, which you would have to do to hit the top of the ball, I think.
I think they're getting at is more of hitting the, trying to get the ball to roll quicker by giving it forward. And that's kind of a misnomer there of let the putter do the work. You don't have to get the ball to roll. We create the putter to do that itself.
And one of the things you and Paul have told me in the studio, I've just got a ball here and I'll take this pen out. If I'm putting in that direction, you made the image. If I had a nail, I would want the putter head to drive the nail straight through the ball to make it go. I would never want it down, and it's definitely not, the lifting would make the ball, to me, spin backwards too much.
Right. So you're right on track. I remember talking about hitting, if it was a nail, hitting it forward, and we put 3.5 degrees loft on the putter to get it on top of the grass because the ball weighs X amount and sits down. So we don't want it coming back, or we don't want it going over. And Brad, if it goes over too quickly, meaning rolling too quickly, the ball sits into a cup. And if we don't have enough loft, it hits the front edge and goes over, but you can't see, it hops. So simply we want the ball lifted and moving along on top of the hair of the grass, then eventually it rolls. Then it goes, so not enough loft, it rolls over, but it hops. Too much loft, it goes backwards, spin. Eventually it rolls, but that first 12 inches is where it all happens. So we want to be precise at the 12 inches. And as your putter has 3.5 degrees loft, and it has forever, when your shaft's at 90 degrees, 3.5 degrees loft works.
When players don't have enough loft on their putter, I invariably see them tilting back a lot.
Trying to help it.
Up a lot to help the ball so that it doesn't go crashing into the ground.
Thus the question, Brad, are you helping it to roll? So I think, no. I like your idea about the hammer driving in the nail forward. So the putter loft, the putter weight, and its momentum of the speed of the stroke all collides at one. And we know we want it to be moving forward, not backwards, not forwards, but at 20 feet, we find 6 inches of level travel. Okay, next question for you. What is your favorite tequila?
I only have to pick one. It's easier answering what's my favorite putter. So, by the way, I always talk better when I hold on to the putter. I don't know if that helps you think, but I've been partial to Jose Cuervo La Familia, which is one of the best. And then one I found in Santa Barbara a couple days after I saw you in October, called El Abaso. That's been a really great extra añejo tequila. And if I had to pick a third, Dos Artes, which is in this really cool ceramic bottle, which would look really cool as a Scotty Cameron golf bag. But it's a rectangular ceramic bottle, Dos Artes, A-R-T-E-S. It's kind of a sweeter, more vanilla-y sort of extra name.
What are the benefits of sticking with the same putter shape? And this comes from Alan Young, 123.
All right, Alan, that's a great question. I think if I'm teaching somebody, for the long term, the long haul, consistency of your approach is really important. How you think, your stroke, of course, and the putter that you use can really influence the shape of your stroke, right, Scotty? Whether the putter opens and closes more, like I have a very heel, toe hang. There's a lot of flow here. The toe can open and close easiest. So if you're going to develop a stroke, a consistency of stroke, having a putter that you stick with takes out some of the variables. And look, I've tried other putters with a lot of toe hang, and I know immediately that I could work within a certain group. But if I started going to putters that are more face balanced, that really affects the way I feel and the way I would have to stand up and everything about the way I would use that putter. So I'm sure Scotty wants to have everybody that's a Scotty fan buy all kinds of his putters. But if he wants those players to putt their best for a long period of time, he'd say stay within the same model like I have for a long time.
I think the way a putter looks affects what you do with it. And you're correct, a face balanced putter is face balanced because it goes more square to square. So when you're used to a heavy toe hang or a lot of toe flow, there's a disconnect in your brain. A face balance wants to go square, and you have grooved your stroke to be with an arc, which is really the proper way because the lie angle creates that arc.
So Scotty, I would say, I grew up where the Titleist headquarters were. Bullseye was the first putter that I used, had a lot of toe hang.
Yes.
Then when I first met you and started playing around with some of these,
Yes.
gunmetal, they were a lot of toe hang. All the Newport style putters that I liked had toe hang, but maybe not quite as much. And then the one that I've stuck with for a long time certainly has that. So even though the shapes are a little bit different, I think the mechanism of what it makes you do is really, really key to be a good putter for a while.
Brad, I've always said, pick a putter that works with your stroke.
Absolutely. And I love how when we go to your studio, we can, in a matter of minutes, try all the different putter heads that you have, and you can prove it on the video, on the slow motion video, whether it's with how much the face opens and closes, what the ball does with the different lofts. I love that, hitting balls with a putter with only 1 degree loft and watching it bounce into the ground and then up. And then certainly when you have too much loft and you see the ball lead like it's a field goal kick, that's equally as bad.
Right. So on your putter, Brad, the toe is wider than the heel, so it tapers back in your fax day. And that is cheating the eye and the illusion of the putter. The toe wants to swing to the inside. Where if I took the heel of the putter and made it wider and the toe skinnier, the first look is it wants to go outside. So you can cheat the eye and cheat the brain into doing things. Okay, my next question for you, my question. Now I'm getting a little deep here, so bear with me. Down and dirty, when you're playing an event, you're leading an event, and you've won many, does a putter speak to you?
Is this your question or somebody sent that in?
My question.
Does the putter speak to me? Well, I definitely believe the putter knows me.
Do you have a relationship with your putter?
It's got one spot in my bag that it goes to. It's got one spot in the rack that it goes to, and it's like a dog on a leash. When it doesn't want to go where you want it to go, it tends to come out a little bit more difficultly. If I haven't been putting well, it's amazing how sometimes the putter doesn't come out of the bag quickly, and it's like, hey, you need to relax a little bit and get a grip on yourself.
So, see, I believe that. I believe that putters speak to you, and when they act up, you put them in the closet to teach them a lesson. Then you bring them back out, and it's like meeting an old friend again.
They don't like dark, do they?
No, they don't like the darkness. They want to come out. They want to be your friend. They want to come out and play with you. So I believe there is a relationship with your putter. You know what it does, it knows what you do, and you work together to make more putts.
Think about this. When the players are on, when they're playing well, and they hit a good shot from 200 yards onto the green, that putter is out in their hands for that 200-yard walk. That's minutes holding on to your putter, playing around, twirling it around. When you're not putting well, you don't touch this thing till you get on the green, right?
Because you have to.
If I looked at my statistics over my career on the PGA Tour, when I first started to see my putting stroke in slow motion in your studio, I never really, we didn't have that technology, but we saw, and you saw, that my putter would go back a little bit straight, it would loop out, and I would kind of swipe across the ball a little bit. And we worked on that with setup changes. We worked on it. You gave me some drills to get the putter to arc more to the inside, to get my putter to follow through a little bit longer, and that concept of that 3 balls and hitting the 3 balls square. My statistics on the tour, and at that time I was 34 or 5 years old, got better at that point in my life. And I had become a good putter, good to great. But after I saw you for the first time, I think that's when I led the putting stats 3 out of the next 6 years and stayed in the top 10 for, I want to think, 11 out of 12 years, something that's probably hard to do. And it was from seeing my stroke and talking about it with you, and then coming back for consistent checkups. But what's remarkable about all that, after those few years of really kind of making some significant changes in the stroke, I think every time I've come to see you or Paul, it's like 5 or 6 putts is all we need to do, and then we got it back in there, and then it's conversation for an hour, isn't it?
It is, just like this, talking about putters and grips and shafts and our friends and tequila. But yeah, I saw the reaction from you early on, and our friends David Duval and great players throughout the years. The eyes would light up, and how powerful high-speed video to understand what truly happened. Then I opened the one in Encinitas because the touring pros were coming in left and right, but I wanted to share it with the consumer to get better. And it is so powerful to see what you truly do, and then how quickly you can get better from knowing what was wrong, what is right. And when you come in, you always have that little loop sometimes. And here's one: if it works, stick with it. We're not here to change the world. We're not here to give a lesson. We're here to see how the ball and the putter react with the person to make more putts. So the opportunity to come to my gallery in Encinitas, we are sold out normally 3 months in advance, but it is so powerful in the mind to see if the putter works with the stroke and works with the player. So if you have the opportunity like you do, you need to do it.
There's no question about it. I talked to a few people that have been out there, waited for a couple hours to go in the shop, and then said that was the greatest experience of my life, to be able to see the creativity of all Scotty Cameron, everything in there. But to get there and see slow motion, see what the ball does when it leaves the putter, which I really still think is misunderstood. And I know now, every time I'm going to hit a putt, what the ball should do when it leaves my putter. And there are so many players that have little idiosyncrasies to their stroke that would be really hard to change. Ben Crenshaw, I mean, lined it up on the toe, took it inside, looped it out and over. And how would you ever say you can't do that?
And you don't. If it works, you stick with it. If it doesn't work, let's understand why it doesn't and how do we become better. But to see the video of your stroke and what it does is so powerful. And really, it only takes about 3 putts to understand what's going on. But I can't, and you don't have to be fit to putt. You don't. But you're better off if you do, to understand what's to happen and what is happening. So if you have the chance, I highly recommend come see us. So this one is from Brad KOS asks. This one makes me laugh, Brad. He asks, why do I suck at putting? Well, with that mindset,
That would be a great title for a book, wouldn't it? Why do I suck at putting? First of all, I think he probably already knows the answer to that if he's asking that question. We could say, I play with amateur golfers in the pro-ams every time we play in a tour event. And it's remarkable and amazing to me how far off amateur golfers are from what the best players in the world look like. And you just talked about like posture, fitness, even the putters that amateur golfers use. I'm like, if I've never seen one of those putters before, you probably shouldn't use that. Find something that, there's all kinds of different models, all different kinds of Scotty Camerons that you can use. If you think poorly, if you prepare poorly, if you don't practice, if you don't know how to read a green, those are all the reasons why you would suck at putting.
Agreed. You get out of it what you put into it.
That is a funny question.
That is a funny question. Okay, next. Hey, Brad, a question from John Probins asks, do you feel the stroke is started by the hands or by the shoulders? What's your thoughts?
Okay, it's a really good question. And for me, it's always a blend. So if I'm standing up to this, and obviously I'm right-handed, conventional grip, if I were going to take it back with just the hands, the stroke would look like this, where nothing else moves. Some people would say that's wristy. We were talking about older style putters where hands were forward and they were very wristy, and actually the butt of the club used to go forward towards the target and the putter would come off the ground. Old putters had more loft, players hit more down on it. This would be a handsy stroke. Shoulders would be, to me, the shoulders, they tilt and they turn as the putter starts to move back. So the left shoulder's moving down and towards the ball and away from the target, but they're not independent of each other. They work at the same time. I think there are feels. I feel more hands on my backstroke, but I know that my shoulders move. I know some players like to feel more big muscle portions when they stroke, where they want to take their hands out and they just go along for the ride. Again, to me, those are more preference, Scotty, than they are important to do. If you're asking me personally, I feel more hands, but I know it's always a blend of hands and shoulder.
Gotcha. We have found, Brad, that 60% shoulders versus 40% hands and arms. And if you too many hands, we see on the high-speed video, the putter on the backstroke wavers on the backstroke. Then when we ask them to use more shoulders and go 60-40, it tracks much better instead of waves around when you don't have enough shoulders. So I think there's a combination and not extremes of both.
Yeah, it has to be a blend. There's no question about it that the best players, and especially today, where everybody seems to have much more solid-looking setups, there's a really nice-looking blend of arms, shoulders, and hands.
From Walter Greer, he asks, is there a common trait among good putters?
Is there a common trait among good putters? To me, the best putters in the world are confident with what they're doing. If I have, I've spent a career walking onto a putting green, and I would tell you that the best putters, when they go on to warm up to go play around, they're more concerned about what they're doing for their feels and their strokes. They're not looking around trying to find a better way. They're not looking at another player saying, I wish I putted like him. They're really comfortable within their own skin about what they're doing with their putter, what they're doing to make that ball roll and have the best chance to go in the hole. So that confidence comes from a lot of hard work, a lot of good information that they've been giving, and then having the right equipment to make it all work together. And that's where that package turns into the ability to have confidence every time you step up on the green.
That is Oh, you're gonna have to send that into custom shop.
Oh, did it fall?
Was that the handmade, Brad?
Oh. No, that was the first one you ever milled for me.
That's gonna hurt.
Oh, that's funny. Right.
So I have so many questions for you, Brad, over the years, and so many stories that I want to tell people about. Like the first time we were at La Costa Resort, I had a new putter I was showing you. You're about 18 feet from the hole. I walked up to you. You put your putter on your left thigh. I handed you a putter. You put it down. You made about 6 in a row of an 18-footer with a putter on your thigh, stroking a putter, not even trying. And I was so impressed that you made so many putts so easily. So there's so many stories like that, and the bags behind you, and the putters I've made for you, and some of the stories. But we're gonna cut it right here, and I hope I have an open door for the next time we chat, because I love sharing and telling stories about one of the greats, you, Brad Faxon.
Scotty, as you can tell, the Cameron name is everywhere in my workshop, in my house. I have Cameron logos on almost every piece of clothing that I wear, and you've been a huge part of my golfing life and success, and I'm proud to be your friend.
Brad, thank you very much, and be safe.
You too.